I am so excited to dive into the astrology of December with you. So, right now, as we're gathering here, as we're recording here, it's December 1st, 2025. So, in all aspects, we're really starting the month off in this full moon kind of culminating energy, growing to a head until December 4th, 2025 at 18:13 Eastern Time. So that's around 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Um, we're culminating to this moment of completion with something that we've been living into for a while. This feeling of having a better understanding now than maybe we did earlier in the year in Gemini season of what beliefs are really keeping us where we are and what beliefs are opening us up to expansion and growth and growing closer and closer and closer to the things that we desire, the things that we're manifesting, the dreams that we're carrying. And in this way, this is a moon of inspiration, of a shifting consciousness. This is really about neutralizing the false light of polarity and harmonizing two seemingly opposite frequencies. Realizing that we're not in an either or, but a both and consciousness opens the door to, or rather, I think closes the door on so much friction. When you move with the reality that even two opposing truths can somehow be held as true in this existence of reality, we can kind of orient to idea differently. When we come upon this full moon in Gemini, I think there's a real opportunity to lay down the need to prove a limiting belief completely false and step into a state of just singular truth in frequency. And so I think the opportunity here as well is if you're feeling pulled in multiple directions, hold your sacred center, open your mind, meditate, journal as your highest self. And I think there's a piece here of like, overstimulation is a really big theme with this Mercury retrograde that we just experienced that started in Sagittarius and then moved into Scorpio, stationing direct over this past weekend on November 29th. We've had this like ringing in our ears, this spiraling in our consciousness, especially for those who Mercury is your chart ruler. If you're Gemini rising, Gemini sun, Virgo sun, especially this kind of it's not just like racing thoughts, it's like omnidirectional Rubik's cubing of thoughts just constantly. This is an opportunity to really clear that frequency, clear those like channels for something better to come through. So, really doing things that benefit the mind on a biological and spiritual and energetic level. So, getting good sleep, having a good relationship with screen time, but then also, herbs that support the mind, mushrooms that support the mind, and then also dropping into meditation, doing a little brain dump of all the tasks that you have open as tabs in your mind, all the things that you need to get done. Really laying that bare and unburdening yourself of it could be a really good practice for. I know that's a little more mundane of a full moon ritual, but it might be something that is beneficial on the full moon. Um, then uh, Neptune stations direct on December 10th. So Neptune has been retrograde since July 4th, and it started its retrograde in Aries in a new sign for the first time in a very, very, very long time. Neptune entered Aries at the beginning of this year and then stationed retrograde. And then on October 22nd, it retrograded back into Pisces. And at this time, we have the opportunity to get one final lesson from Neptune in Pisces. One final crystallized piece of understanding. And Neptune being the planet of dreams, this is about our consciousness around our dreams. This is about our perception of reality, our healthy and unhealthy attachment to reality, as well as distortions and delusions, and as well as our magic. And we'll never experience Neptune in Pisces again unless a lot of things change about healthcare very quickly. We will not experience Neptune in Pisces in this lifetime again. And earlier, in November, at the end of November is what I'm trying to say. At the end of November, Saturn re-entered Pisces. And so once again, we have these planets, Saturn and Neptune, holding hands in Pisces, giving us one final lesson. And with the station of Neptune direct, Saturn has already stationed direct. So we've ended this Saturn Neptune backslide where we felt this like pull back into old paradigm, this pull back to reapproach things that we thought we had already figured out, this pull back to be faced with things where we're like, God, are we not done with that? We start moving forward. Not right away, right? Stationing direct means that Neptune is going to appear to be completely still in the sky from the perspective of Earth. Now, of course, it's actually moving pretty quickly, but astrology is the study of the planet's movement from our perspective on Earth and on the day that these planets station. And I'd wager potentially leaking into before and after the exact station, or maybe just like a little lingering a little while after the station. It appears to be still. So this forward motion is slow going. Like so a good example is Mercury just stationed direct over the weekend and I still feel the tremors of that Mercury retrograde cycle. Like Mercury is not fully satisfied yet. Mercury likes to move fast. So this Mercury retrograde ending, the stationing direct, doesn't mean all is resolved, all is well, because we also have to clear the shadow. And so Neptune and Saturn aren't going to do that for a while. So we're still living into this closure. We're still living into this what we learned from there to now. And I think I'm not going to get the date completely right off the top of my head. Hold on, unless I wrote it down. And I didn't. Neptune entered Aries, I think it was in March. And then Saturn entered Aries in May, I'm pretty sure is how it went down. And so, really, since that time, what have you learned? What have you embodied? And really taking this final masterclass seriously because we can, I mean, to a degree, like we can bottle this up a little. Like, if you feel like there's still a lot of lessons to be learned, like I can coach you in making an essence about it. We can still tap in to this frequency, but we will never have this astrology again once they change signs in this lifetime. And Neptune's going to re-enter Aries on January 26th. So we're not even that far out from never having another experience of Neptune in Pisces. So The time to learn at the feet of Neptune and Pisces and Saturn and Pisces is right now. So we're starting to move forward on the other side of this stationing. We're moving forward wiser and stronger, and it's stationing at what's called the anaretic degree. This is the 29th degree of a sign, and it's all about mastery. This is about what are you an expert in now that Neptune is leaving Pisces. Neptune first entered Pisces in 2011. And at that time, I know for me personally, that was when I had my first spiritual awakening. And I really got onto the path that I'm on now. And I hear that story so often, not just in my peers, not just in like my own age group. Like that was when aligns with when I went to college. So it's like, oh, go figure, you had a spiritual experience in college. But it's like people in every age group marking this as a turning point in their relationship with spirituality. What are you claiming expertise in? What dreams are finally coming to fruition now that the dreaming gets to be done and we move into the action of Aries? So I think the opportunity here really resides in divine downloads. So I'm offering like write a letter to yourself from a higher power, imbuing yourself with divine wisdom. Soak in these final moments of Neptune and Pisces that you'll ever live through. Then Mercury enters Sagittarius the next day until January 1st, 2026. So these ideas that have been brewing since the full moon in Gemini, now that's about a week's time. Um, these ideas that kind of drip into the mind on that full moon. Full moons for releases, like moving this energy outward, what we're done with, what we've kind of like excavated, and then what comes into its place within this 1 week time frame, and really allowing those to bubble forth. Oh my gosh, we were just talking about effervescence in our coven opening. That's so funny. I forgot I wrote that earlier. But what ideas, what fully actualized resonances are going to bubble forth from the fountain of your throat chakra? Being in the mystery of what you'll say next. What idea will bubble forth from your lips when you're posed with an intuitive inquiry? And here I think curiosity and discretion open the door to a magical realm of clear knowing. So the opportunity here is to let your voice resonate with the world. Set your words free. Get creative with your expression. Stay hydrated, stay rooted to endure. Something that's also coming through is potential for more travel. I mean, obviously this is like holiday times, but Mercury is the god of travels, and Sagittarius is really linked in with that traveling energy. So maybe opportunities come to, even if they're short distance trips. Mercury isn't necessarily about like traveling the whole world like Sagittarius is. Mercury is this ruler of like shorter voyages. It could be lengthened by that arc of Sagittarius, but like play around with, day trips, little indulgences that you can have, like getting to know your area. Maybe it's just going to a thrift shop, or like we have it on the books to go to the aquarium, or whatever it is. Just like being in that curiosity and that exploration during this time is going to feel nourishing. So hopefully any holiday travels you have planned feel really good. Then on the 15th, we'll have Mars enter Capricorn. Now, one thing that I forgot to say earlier when I was talking about Neptune stationing direct is now that Neptune and Saturn are direct in the final degrees of Pisces, we'll have all these planets who are making their way through the final degrees of Sagittarius and then teetering into Capricorn, forming these kind of tense squares to the planets in Pisces, to Saturn and Neptune. So first Mars, then the Sun, then Venus. So before Mars enters Capricorn, he engages Saturn and Neptune in this kind of like this town ain't big enough for the both of us energy. And then our job is to remind them that the town actually is, in fact, big enough for the both of them, and we can hold both of their truths in balance to bring ourselves into where we want to go, right? That's the task of a square. So, with this particular square, we're really illuminating the frequency of inner strength, resilience, commitment to using your intuition as your guidance system, and intuition as a grounding presence rather than a heady one. So this is about embodiment, right? The embodiment of these distilled lessons from Saturn and Neptune's final stand in Pisces is to like really come to this place of instead of having these ideas swirling around and we're like plucking them from up here when we are feeling embodied, it's about really just like bringing this like heavenly vision for our life on earth into our bodies a bit more. And we do this with each initiation, Mars, Sun, Venus. And we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna meet when the sun is just finishing this square and right before Venus enters Capricorn. So we'll walk through this gateway that I'm describing together if you so choose. Would love to have you there. It's completely free to join us. It'll be a 2-day affair. And I'll talk more about that later. So this is a time for the entire time Mars is in Capricorn. This is a time to feed the seeds of our dreams in every way that we can, offering a lush, fertile soil for them to take root and flourish in our material reality. So I think the opportunity here is to take aligned action in the waking world when it's time. So this always makes me think of the panther in the deck from the Animal Spirit Oracle, just this the way that I see the panther really being this like luxurious, like abundance mindset where it's not about complacency. It's about how we're acting from this self-assured place that all we have to do is receive the thing to have the thing. All we have to do is put ourselves in the right position at the right time, take the right step at the right time, rather than moving from a place of what if moving from a place of like what must I do? This is true, so what must I do? This is true for me. I know it's coming. What do I need to do to bring it right here, right now? So this we find ourselves in winter, right? In the northern hemisphere. And so the seasonally isn't a time to go out there and grind necessarily. And sometimes, Capricorn really gets associated with that grind. But instead, this is really about working smarter, not harder. So, really allowing the opportunities to flow to you so that the move that you have to make isn't as strenuous. Let it come to you. Be open to that reception. And that's really something that we're going to look at with Venus moving into Capricorn toward the end of the month. So we'll get there. So the opportunity here is to instead of go far, go deep. Tend your roots, nourish your body, and just show up with that level of awareness that all you have to do is be there and be in your aligned acting self. That brings us to a new moon in Sagittarius on December 19th. That'll be around 8:43 Eastern time. Um, And the frequency of this is really the threshold of a new era of belief, a new way of being and expressing. So we are really wanting to carry only what serves us through this new moon portal. And this is happening at the 28th degree of Sagittarius. So it's not the anaretic degree like where Neptune is stationing and lingering for a while. But it's almost, so this moon is almost exactly 1 degree from squaring off with Neptune in Pisces. And so this is about really looking at those limiting beliefs, those nagging little thoughts in our head about why something might not work out the way that we vision it. The weight of even our current circumstances in the material realm, stepping out from under that heaviness of that belief system and like offering it to the fire of this moon and looking at what you've cultivated a knowing of in this last, what is it, like decade and a half that Neptune's been in Pisces, and really taking those wisdom seeds with you through the portal. Um, So in this way, maybe taking a limiting belief, this could be like an exercise, like in a journal if you wanted, looking at a limiting belief and whittling it down all the way to its seed. Like what is there? And is that seed rotten, or is that seed actually something that can be viable and fertile? Because sometimes at the core of a limiting belief is actually our expanding belief, just like flipped upside down and on its head and backwards. Um, and if we can do that whittling and that synthesis, that could be a good practice for the new moon in Sagittarius. So yeah, I kind of already said that here. Spoiler alert, the opportunity here is to excavate your psyche to find remnants of limiting beliefs and offer them to the fire of this moon. Wow, I said that exact sentence. It's almost like I wrote this. Transmute them through dance, play, singing, writing, speaking, creating. Like, let the ideas flow through your body. Don't just keep them in this imaginal realm, in this mental realm that we carry at our crown chakra. Bring them down into the body and through the body and into the world by whatever means resonates. Um, Sun enters Capricorn on December 21st. And this day is also Yule, the winter solstice. So this day is the longest night and the shortest day that we'll have um, in this year. And we have the opportunity here to really be with these shadowy, cavernous realms of our being and hold them and offer them warmth and love as we nurture our way through this dreaming portal. So, as we excavate these limiting beliefs, release them, all of this, there are going to be parts of ourselves that still, even if the belief is gone, still need this like fortification and nurturing from us. So this is about really bringing an illumination to the inner worlds, drawing focus down to the roots, into the foundation of our lives. This is about dream seeds awakening and stirring underground and nurturing them into being what we want them to be. And so, as I've said, whenever a planet is entering Capricorn, we're having this square form. And these particular squares between the sun and Saturn and the sun and Neptune firmly land us in a timeline that requires our faith and devotion. Through our faith and devotion, our dreams gain potential and gain viability. This is the darkest night. This isn't the time to be, we were talking about this at the beginning of our check-in as well, is we might not be able to see all the way through to the end of the thing. Like we might not be able to see the whole way that it's going to work out or exactly where it's going to land us to have these dreams come true. And this is about being in that mystery and letting that darkness actually feel safe, letting that blurriness to the edges of the vision, letting that actually feel okay, letting that feel natural. Um, and that's where faith lives. And I think faith gets like personified as this very, and the word devotion as well, as this very like religious concept. And what I'm offering is that if you want it. And also that faith is about having limitless trust that there is an energy outside of your singular self that is uplifting you, that is on your side, that is working to uplift, support, nourish, nurture, and love you. Whether you want to call that the universe, or call that source, or call that spirit, or call it the ancestors, call it God, call it whatever deities you work with, call it whatever, call it whatever, call it magic, call it science, whatever it is, trusting beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are held in receiving this, that you are supported in living into what you visioned, that these visions actually were bestowed upon you, offered to you, and that the reason that you desire them is because they're for you. And so working through this square, this particular square with Neptune is on 12/20. And that day we will gather. So, we'll talk about that in just a second. I'll talk more about like what our plan is in just a moment, actually. But the opportunity here is to adorn your winter solstice altars, of course, and engage in deep dreaming practices, rest and restore, focus on depth and alignment and self-transformation. Um, Maybe not on the doing, but in the orientation, in the preparation. Da-da-da-da. This is what I've been kind of hinting at all call long is Glisten, our solstice visioning mini retreat that's coming up later this month. It's completely free as a free member of the Crystalline Coven. And we're gonna gather 2 nights in a row at 7 p.m. Eastern. So the first day is Saturday, December 20th. We're going to come together for an astrology summit pretty similar to this to kind of get our bearings, understand the coming solar season. And on Sunday, we'll engage in alchemical group ritual to bring our visions and dreams into the waking world, into our lived experience of reality. So, this will be a really nourishing and nurturing weekend. Um, the replays will be posted. And although, like, this portal of the 21st with the sun entering Capricorn, and on December 20th of the sun squaring Neptune at the 29th degree, it's potent to join us live, but you don't have to. I know it's a busy time for everyone, but if you can make the space to join us live, I think that will be the most nourishing experience of Glisten. But there will be the replay available, and it will be available for as long as like I have a YouTube channel, so you can return to it anytime. And yeah, I am so excited for this, and I hope I will see you there. And then soon after, we have, well, actually, on the day that we're gathering, on December 21st, when we have the visioning experience, Venus will be in that square with Saturn. And then on the 24th, it peaks in its square, Venus peaks in her square with Neptune and then enters Capricorn. And Venus in Capricorn, is a time to enchant our dreams into being by committing to them without reservation or restriction, which isn't necessarily like natural for Capricorn. Capricorn is a sign of reservation and restriction. And so Venus is here to like loosen Capricorn up a little bit, like let Capricorn flow a little bit because we're enticing the Capricorn energy with this deep commitment and we're evading this realm of reservation and restriction is the goal. So our summit is to really kind of like butter butter us up in this way as we prepare for Venus to enter Capricorn. And here there's also an emphasis on responsibility to our dream life that nobody like all the stage is set for our dreams to come true. Like the everything that could be set up in the imaginal realm, in the dream realm, in the waking realm, and in this loving energy that surrounds us all. The stage is set for your dreams to come true. We have the responsibility of putting ourselves in the position for that to transpire. I really believe that. And there's a lot of systems in the world that keep us from doing that to varying degrees. But ultimately, we have this is what Venus and Capricorn is going to show us. We have this responsibility to our dream life. We have to wake up with our dream life in mind and on our hearts. We have to move in dedication and devotion and commitment to our dreams in order for them to become a part of our waking life. And so, in this way, Venus is entering this space to both soften us up and firm up our devotion, like almost like calcifying our devotion, um, sculpting our devotion. So, the opportunity here is to woo your dreams, romance them, buy them flowers. Make art for them, make music for them, dance for them, take them out to dinner, cosplay the version of yourself that has all the things that you're manifesting, that is living the life that you're living. Um, what would you do when you're going out as that person? Um, Open yourself completely to receiving the highest outcome of your dream come true. Um, then I have like the most mundane thing at the end. That's so funny. And then also drink rose and spearmint tea, apparently. Um, Look, the messages, they just come through. Rose opening this deep devotion, and spearmint is quickening, right? Spearmint is all about abundance. It's about prosperity. Everything in the mint family, if you plant it in the ground in the zone that I'm in, it will take over your entire garden. It's prolific to almost a problematic degree. And so when we imbibe, when we embody this frequency of the mint family, spearmint specifically came through for this in particular. I think mainly I think it will taste delicious in terms of like which mint I picked. Um, but it brings this prolific, propagating prosperity, abundance frequency to that heart-centered, open, boundaried openness and luxuriously romantic energy of the rose, which is the highest vibrational flower known to mankind. And yeah, so in this way, this tea is really helping you open yourself completely to receiving the highest outcome of your dream come true. The bluntness of the sentence is just like past Auburn is hilarious to me sometimes. So let's stay woven. Obviously, I really, really, really want you to come to Glisten. I think it's going to be an amazing time. December 20th and 21st. It's completely free, 7 p.m. both days. I would love to walk this portal with you. Um, I'm also going ahead and starting to launch my year ahead readings. This is an annual special that I run where you can either get a generic PDF that kind of outlines the major events of the year. I generally include ingresses when a planet enters a new sign, retrogrades, eclipses, and then anything else that feels like really big. So sometimes there are some big aspects, but it depends on, I mean, next year is wild. So we'll see what all comes through. I'm working on them this week. And then the custom PDF. So the generic PDF has a page for each of these transits. It tells you when it's happening and what it means. So you do not have to be astrologically fluent to benefit from the generic PDF. I think it actually would serve you in increasing your astro fluency. Then the custom PDF takes that generic PDF and adds a paragraph to every page that personalizes it to your birth chart. So the custom PDF will have a screenshot of your birth chart, and then it will also guide you through what house that transit is activating and what that means. So I give you the nitty-gritty details of what's going on. I give you the terminology, but I also explain it thoroughly. And then finally, paired with the custom PDF, you can get a one-on-one 75-minute session for only $99. I am raising my rates in 2026. I haven't announced that publicly yet. So this will be one of the best ways to get yourself set up for 2026. Because this is a rate that we're not going to find in a couple of weeks. Neptune in Aries masterclass. Now, Neptune doesn't enter Aries until January 26th. But with that stationing at the 29th degree, I just felt called to remind you guys that I already taught a masterclass on Neptune in Aries. And everyone who purchases the original masterclass that I taught is going to get an invite to join me for free at the next one that I teach when Neptune enters Aries for real. So this is all about preparing for the paradigm shifting transit Neptune and Aries, steeping in the magic of the archetype and learning what it means for you. So I go through sign by sign and I tell you what to expect in this next era of life, how it's lighting up your chart and what that means for you, what your areas of opportunity are. And I also, share intuitive insights and historical events that have occurred the last time Neptune was in Aries to kind of give us some reference points for what to potentially expect in this time. And it is huge. So I highly recommend it. That is 33. And like I said, it will include the next one that I teach at the beginning of next year as a little gift. My gift to you.